All right, we're looking at this first question. It says, determine the present value of a house whose worth is 2.5 million in 10 years' time, given that it appreciates by 10% annually. Okay, so we have to get the present value. So remember, colleagues, present value equals future value. Okay, 1 plus r to the power negative t. Okay, or the other one, it's future value over 1 plus r to the power t. Okay, whichever you use, you get figures. So our future value is 2.5 million. Okay, let's get the information here. 2.5 million, the time 10 years, and they've told us it appreciates by 10% annually. So say 2.5 million multiplied by 1 plus. So our discount rate would be that 10%, 0.1 to the power negative. Is it 10 years? Question. 10 years, yes, to the power negative 10. Okay, so you're going to get 2.5 million multiplied by 1.1 the power negative 10. Okay, let's get our calculators, colleagues. So let's see, 1.1 the power negative 10, you get 0.3855. 0.385 multiplied by 2.5 million. Okay, you get 968,858. 963,000. 963,858.22. Colleagues, is that what we're getting? Is that the value we are getting? Are there any questions? Are there any questions, colleagues? We move on to the next one. Okay. Identify and briefly explain two determinants of price elasticity of demand. So, colleagues, remember we said price elasticity of demand is how the quantity demanded of a good responds to changes in the price of that same good. All right. So, two determinants. Number one, availability of substitutes. Okay, number one, availability of substitutes. Okay. The more substitutes a good has, oh, I've already got that definition here. Yes, availability of substitutes. The more substitutes a good has, okay, the more the demand is elastic. All right. For example, let's say for soft drinks, look at, let's say maybe Fruticana right now. Okay. If the price of Fruticana increases, people can stop buying Fruticana and buy other drinks. There's Coca Cola, okay, there is Fanta, there is Pepsi, there's the Mirindas, okay, there's Yes Drink. There's so many drinks, there's so many substitutes available. All right. So the more substitutes a good has, the more the demand is elastic. The less substitutes, the less the demand is inelastic. For example, salt. Salt has got zero substitutes. So demand for salt is inelastic. Okay. If the price increases for salt, you can't substitute it with anything. You still have to buy the salt. So remember this, colleagues, when we say elastic demand, it means quantity demanded is sensitive to price changes. Okay. When we say elastic demand, okay, quantity demanded is sensitive to price changes. So you can find the price increases even just by 2%. Okay. Then you find quantity demanded would drop by, let's say, even 20%. That is elastic demand. Okay. Quantity demanded is sensitive to price changes. But when we said inelastic demand, then it means quantity demanded is not that sensitive to price changes. Okay. Here's an illustration of inelastic demand. Okay. You can say price can rise by 20%, like the price of salt. Okay, let's say in this theoretical example, there's one company producing salt, okay, and they increase the price of salt by 20%. We cannot substitute salt, so quantity demanded might drop just by 2%. Okay? Because there are less substitutes around. So the more substitutes a good has, its demand is elastic. The less substitutes, demand is inelastic. Colleagues, please remember that point. Are we okay with that point, Madam Anne? Madam Anna, are we okay with that point? Madam Audrey? Madam Audrey, are we okay with that point? Madam Bridget, are we okay with that point? Wonderful, wonderful. Madam Chisomo, are we okay with that point? Right. And Mr. Mwenya, are we okay with that? The second determinant, colleagues, is a thing. If a good is a necessity or a luxury. Okay. Necessity or a luxury. That's the second determinant. Number two, necessity or luxury. Meaning, so for example, for goods that are necessities, okay, for goods that are necessities, demand is inelastic. Okay. For example, medicine. If you are on diabetes medicine or maybe cancer medication, all right, that is a necessity for you to live. So if that medication, the price increases, you'll still be forced to still take that medication, okay? Because it's a necessity you need for life, all right? Yes. But if a good is not a necessity, it's a luxury, then demand is inelastic, okay? For goods that are not necessities, okay? Let's say some luxurious goods, like maybe let's say uh, like chains and those diamond chains or the gold chains. Those are not necessities; they are luxuries. Okay, so if their price increases, you can do without them. Okay, people can live without having a gold chain. Okay, or a silver chain. Those are just luxuries. Okay, so if the price of those things increase, people can stop buying them because they don't really need them. Yes. Colleagues, are we okay with that second point? Are we okay with that second point for necessity or luxuries? Okay, I hope we're okay with it. I hope we are okay with it. Okay. Yes. Part C. Using clearly labeled graph to illustrate your answer. Describe the implication on demand and price changes when price elasticity is infinite. Okay, when price elasticity is infinite. So colleagues, when price elasticity of demand is infinite, it means quantity demanded is very sensitive to price changes. Okay, quantity demanded is very sensitive to price changes. Okay, so a perfectly elastic demand curve is like this, colleagues. A horizontal demand curve. Okay, and the best place where we can illustrate this is at the perfect competition. Remember perfect competition market structure, colleagues? Perfect competition where there are many firms, many buyers, and many sellers. Yes. The demand curve where perfect competition is like is perfectly elastic. Because remember, in a perfect competition, everyone is selling the same goods, and customers are aware about prices. Okay. So if you try to increase the price even by one ngwe, you're going to lose all your customers. Why? Because everyone knows the price of the good. Okay. For example, let's say people who are selling tomatoes at a market. All right. You find, okay, each tomato is going for 5 kwacha. So if someone tries to sell you a tomato at 6 kwacha, you be you won't buy from them. Okay. You're going to buy from the other people because everyone else is selling the same goods. Okay. So the implication on demand is that demand is very sensitive to changes in price. That's the implication of demand when demand is perfectly elastic. Demand is very sensitive to changes in price. Then the implication on price is that firms are price takers in this market structure. Okay, or wherever demand is perfectly elastic, the sellers or the firms are going to be price takers, right? Meaning they do not choose the price. Okay, they do not choose the price. Okay, they take the market price. So, for example, in the example for the where people are selling tomatoes, find that's the market price. 5 kwacha, one tomato. That is the market price. That's what people should sell it for. Anyone who tries to sell it above that 5 kwacha will lose all their customers. Okay. Yes. So to answer this question here, okay, implication on demand. Demand is highly sensitive to price changes. When you increase price by 0.001%, find demand drops by 100%. So that's the implication of demand. Demand is thing very sensitive to price changes. And then the implication on price is that firms are or sellers are price takers. They only have to accept the market price. Okay, no matter how much they sell, you can sell 200 units, you can sell 1,000 units. You are still going to be charging the same price. Yes. Any questions, colleagues? Yes. So that's what perfectly elastic demand is talking about. Okay. All right, part D. Kaoma works for Golden Insurance Company, where he gets a monthly income of 20,000. After years of experience, Kaoma decides to open his own insurance company. However, company policy cannot allow him to retain his work in the company, while at the same time running a private company dealing with the same type of business as his workplace. Thus, he can choose only one of the two. If Kauma chooses to open the company, he would only make 200,000 in the first year and 300,000 in the second year, as he would be new in the industry. So, question one: what is Kauma's opportunity cost in the first year if he decides to start the insurance business? So, if he decides to start the insurance business, okay, then it means what is he giving up? He's giving up his salary, his monthly income of 20,000. Okay, so in a year, you're going to say 12 times 20,000. That's what to say. It's 12 times 20,000, 240,000. Okay, so his opportunity cost is this 240,000 of his monthly income if he decides to open up the insurance company. Remember, colleagues, opportunity cost, the cost or the value of what you give up whenever you make a choice. So he has made a choice to start his business. So the cost of that choice is this 240,000 monthly or yearly income. That's yearly income now. So that's what I'm trying to do. Okay. Then number two, what is Kalmar's opportunity cost for both first and second years combined if he decides instead to stay at Golden Insurance Company? All right, so he's going to what's the opportunity cost? This 200,000 you lose in the first year, and this 300,000 you lose in the second year. So combined in total, it's 500,000. That's the opportunity cost. 500,000. Okay. The 200,000 in the first year and the 300,000 in the second year. So the total opportunity cost is 500,000.